Let me go to my sheet. All right, so the moon is in Pisces, so we know that Tuesday the moon was in Aquarius. It was a full moon, which means that according to the placement that anyone that had the moon in Aquarius, the full moon, there was a release of something. So when you look at your chart, you look at the Aquarius house for you, and that's going to be community. So it'd be community and groups that you'll look at releasing, and there could be changes in the way that you guys communicate, do things, and how you resonate. Also, education will be a part of an old factor into a new factor. Oh, here's Nora. And when I say old factor, it's like one to two, from old to new. Communication, education, um, and groups, how you resonate with groups and how you do not resonate with them, because that full moon is bringing an illumination of a release. Some people will go back to um, February, January, when the new moon in Aquarius came in, and they could see that that moon new may have brought in fertility and rewards, or blessings, economically, health wise, balanced situations, healing in heart or homes. That's what's on the wheel. So that's what we look at when these new moons and full moons come in. Where is my harvest at? And where am I releasing an old harvest that's not productive? So in this moon, it's like a balance to release and save face for how much is going to be gone, or how much am I letting go of. And also not looking, looking at not keeping anything that doesn't serve. The full moon, when you say it does not serve, or when I say not serving, it's a transformative energy also that we're still dealing with Pluto in Capricorn. So with your house being Capricorn being your money house, Jasmine, that means that there is a balance to your money and a change that's coming with this Aquarius full moon. And the reason why is because the money is connected to community. And that's for anyone. So if someone else was like, Honora just came in, well, she would say, well, it's releasing old stuff from that full moon, would be releasing old stuff from her relationship house, because it's the seventh house. It's also partnerships. It's almost going to be the same for her that I've spoken to you, because it's a relationship energy for both of y'all. Community is relationship. You can't have a community without relationship. So Aquarius for her is going to release old patterns of hers concerning relationships. If she doesn't release them, then they keep repeating. And that's the significance of the moon cycle. It's just like us having a period. The release of the period is to what? Or the blood, what is it for?
Like a natural way of cleansing the body of toxins and things that we no longer need.
Right. So if the moon is connected to that, and we know it is, it's just that the study is not as cohesive because we weren't taught that way. So your cycle is connected to the moon energy. And that's why sometimes people can have cramps worse than others, depending on where that moon is for them. However, the Aquarius moon called forth the release, and also I just heard forgiveness. So you can't always release without forgiving, because you might have to come back, especially if bitterness is connected to it, anger. Um, so forgiveness and a release, because your release is not for people, it's for you, so you can evolve, you and me. All right, so the moon is in Pisces now, it has moved. You might also be aware of how you feel today, versus how you felt during that moon. And that's significant to understand the body during the moon cycles. That's one of the main reasons why why we want to, look at moon cycles, because we want to become aware of ourselves. It's not so we can be outstanding scholars. Okay, so I wrote this yesterday, I added today. And the moon is waxing in a waning gibbous. And so you always want to know what that is. And I did classes on that. You have recordings on it. During this phase, the moon can be seen in the early morning daylight hours on the western horizon. This is the first phase after the full moon occurs. So the waning gibbous is the first phase, lasting 7 days. So the next 7 days, it will be with an illumination growing smaller and smaller until the moon becomes a last quarter with illumination of 50%. The average moon rise for this phase is between 9 p.m. and midnight, depending on the age of the phase. So it's telling you how the moon rises and the different synchronicities of it as it goes through its phases. And, as I am looking at that, what I'm looking at is how the feminine energy goes through phases. And the feminine energy is, again, in man and woman. And so these are moods that we may not have harnessed, that we still become aware of and say, okay, how do I deal with this? And I've been doing the work, but I continue on, or I might need to add something else. I might need some enjoyment. I might need to change something. I need to have some fun because, a lot of people have had a lot of hard energies over the last 10 years, and whatever Pluto was in for someone, it was hard for them on the body in that area. So if I went back, I could say that Jasmine had a lot of challenges financially because Pluto was in her second house. But the wonderful thing that she could have at this time with it moving and it's there again to make sure that she has it is not just her finances, but her security in herself, self-assurance. That's the main thing about the second house. And so, with Pluto being in a North house, and I didn't put that on there, but it's coming up in her sixth house, this is transiting, the health issues and anxiety come up. And even for her, this discussion will take her into some highlights, all of us, but dealing with the sixth house, it will take you into highlights where you understand that you either allow nature to take its course with things or you allow yourself to be taken out. Right. I remember a young lady that had transiting sixth house. Pluto was in her sixth house as well as a North and other Leos. And so she had the same situation. She's an astrologer. She had the same situation as a North. They put a monitor on her. And so her anxiety had become so bad that she couldn't even talk. So she had to stay out of doing her astrology courses and classes and all of that for about 3 months. These things do come up in our charts. And, even if someone asks me right now, how are you feeling? I feel better, but I'm still resting and I'm not, apologizing for it, because the sixth house is Gemini's house for me. And once it went there, my health went or started to feel like it was declining. I was feeling empty. And if anyone grabs that information, when they have sixth house um, energies that's moving through six houses, they can have health challenges. It's Virgo's energy, and Virgo is about healing and health, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to have adversity first. Until you learn how to manage and respect it, it's a wellness house. Virgo's house is sixth house. It's the house after Leo's house. So they don't just become motivational speakers. They're challenged with different aspects of their body. And I can look at people that I've worked with and how it came up, but I'll go on. So one of the things that I want you guys to look at is the number 3, 6, and it stands out. Let me put an S there. It stands out. Wait a minute. 3, 6, and 12 stands out to me. That's how it's supposed to be. When I talk about the houses that I am, not just bringing in some of the other ones that I've discussed, just putting it together, but 3, 6, 12 stands out to me today from the astrological chart. And then I put, but who could leave the ninth house out? So we have quarters here. And the 3, 6, 12, they kind of like mesh together when you look at the chart. If you have a chart, or if you pull up 1, 3, 6, 9, and 12, that's also a mathematical sequence. So the 12th house is the place where the moon energy is reflecting right now. It's the moon. The moon is in Pisces. Let me just say that, okay? And keep it moving. So the moon being in Pisces brings in characteristics. It brings in feelings again. Right. So it brings in, wow, okay. You looked that up in numerology too. Beautiful. I almost missed it. No, I'm serious. 3, 9, 12. But 3, 6, 12. Yeah. Okay, so the moon has a great sensitivity, and this is what you're looking for when you're starting to develop. It's like, why am I sensitive to that? Why do I have brain fog? Why can't I think today when I could yesterday? You're looking to find out why. And so in Pisces, you experience sensitivity, perceptiveness of your surroundings. So what that means is that when you go into a place, you get sick, it's probably your senses saying that you don't need to be here or eat here or that kind of thing. While some people will continue to stay there, they won't move to take their self out. And one of the things about Pisces, when you look at the chart, is Pisces is across from Virgo. And this energy that I'm going to present to you guys today, called Hygeia, is across from, she's known to be compatible to Virgo because of her healing modalities. So when Pisces energy is affluent and we are not able to understand what we feel, we get sick because we're not using maybe both halves of the chart, my Virgo part and my Pisces part. I'm only using Pisces, and so therefore only Pisces is going to rule. That means that there's no opposition or no catalyst to make me think better about where I am, what I'm experiencing. It's kind of like a man and a woman. The reason why they're together really is so that they can help each other to think better. That means that there's challenges. Life becomes so much better when we are challenged. Because if we're not challenged, then we become bored and lazy, and there's no meaning to life. So it's good to have a partner and friends that challenge you, none that misuse you. And, that can be something you put down there. Let's talk about misuse down there because I want to make that. Challenges mean that some people don't want to be in with me because I'm a teacher and I make people think. It wouldn't be the right place for some people because they don't want to think. They also don't want to change. And it's just not a big deal to me. Okay. You do or you don't. So if you engage in creative or spiritual research or search, if you're searching, you will benefit from the great imagination of Pisces because they're artists. So there's art in you. I didn't read this one. Moon in Pisces has great sensitivity, perceptiveness, of surroundings. You can experience feelings of insecurity. You can be passive and only wait and see what happens in your life. If you engage in creative or spiritual search, you will begin to benefit from great imagination of Pisces. And so the imagination part is necessary for us, but it's also because that's the gateway. It's like going into the heavenlies and coming back. Some people don't want to come back, and so they become self-sabotaging. They also become avoidant because they can use that to escape. So you got 3 words here: escape, avoidance, and self-sabotaging. That is very connected to Pisces. In astrology, Pisces is associated with certain energies and things, but it is important to clarify that these associations are symbolic and not based on empirical evidence. And that is just where a lot of people have not allowed astrology to become like doctrines or like going to college. So the zodiac sign Pisces is traditionally connected to certain characteristics, including a heightened sensitivity, empathy, and imagination. So it very much is, and they're very mystical individuals. But what is a mystic that avoids their the things that they need to change about themselves? What is a mystic? You see, this here is with Pisces. I could say, okay, my grandson is born a Pisces, and little Demetrius is, things that I told Honora to do with him, little Demetrius. And you know, things that, I will tell my son and his daughter to do with my grandson, who is a Pisces, who, you know, artistically colored himself with diaper rash cream today all over and the TV. They need structure and guidance. They also don't need a mother and father that's always soft. They need, and the reason why is because it's not just them, but it's also the part of us. Like today, you could be feeling emotional. And so you're crying because the waters have come now and they're moving. It's just that you're crying. Sometimes you're crying because there's clearing, and sometimes you're just crying. So Pisces, they really know how to on the water because they're water signs. Now, that's something I think that a lot of them maybe don't know unless they study astrology. But I'm a rising Pisces. I can't tell you that I would make myself cry because I'm a Capricorn, so there's a stony part there too. But I know that they're emotional, so they would feed themselves into emotions to make themselves do whatever, would manipulate people. Pisces. So what part of the Pisces in us, if we're striving for mysticism or to be in the alchemic area, why would we be using manipulation? Why would we be jealous? They have it. Why would we even be narcissistic and not realize it? So we all have this placement. And if your senses are heightened during a time where your empathy again and your imagination, just think how it thwarts your spirituality and brings it into a false narrative. A lot of times Pisces are very prophetic because the mystic is there, but it doesn't mean that they're right. This is a place where I've looked at and studied, and also having used it for myself, where it's a prophetic place because it's the age of Jesus coming into acquisition, right? Where he steps into life. And so here is where the falseness narrative is that whenever we look at Jesus, the people that we grew up teaching us in religion, they told us that there was none before him. It's not true. And so at this point in our lives, we don't have to deal with um, the past, letting go of something that was taught from groups, Aquarius, not to feel about it. We don't have to be mad at religious rhetoric because there's a finding truth there. And that's the wonderful part about Aquarius in itself is that it is a truthful energy, but everybody has their own dark side. So you got Aquarius got his own dark side, and until it comes into its light, it is a liar too. So Aquarius is known for the outer limits, the sky, everything beyond what we could know. Those people are very technically savvy. Those people are inventors. There, a lot of them have Asperger's or they're on the spectrum, and they've been called that as if they have disabilities. They're connected to Mercury and Virgo because Aquarius is over those two planets, Mercury and Virgo. So more. And it's not the first time that I've taught this, but this is just reiterating the connection with the planet. So Pisces, it moved from full moon to Pisces. So there's still a letting go. So people would be crying. They would have false narratives of who they are and who they have been because the wheel just keeps on turning until it purifies. And you know, when you have the wheel of fortune, I taught this here before, but the Wheel of Fortune, one of y'all pull it up, or both of y'all, so you can look at it. The Wheel of Fortune, the little entities are outside of the wheel. And the key is to get inside of the wheel. So you got some clues on the Wheel of Fortune that bring you into alignment. Now, when you start getting into the wheel, you probably exit, which is Pisces. You're exiting something, you're leaving something behind. And no matter, I like to look at it this way, no matter what you're leaving behind, once you leave it, that is where Pisces energies come in and you said, we're done with that. It is a release, a letting go, self-sabotaging. The cycle is very key. The cycle is over with that. Because the wheel of fortune is about a cycle. I know that we have the world, but what I just looked at it again was in my mind came up was the cycle of life. And the only way that you and I learn is through the cycles. And that's why, you know, very indicative to the children of Israel going around the mountain. They were going through around cycles. It's a cycle, patterns. So Pisces, you know, connected to the patterns. You can correct the patterns in Pisces. But once you go over into Aries, you should not take that same pattern into Aries again, because that's a new beginning. It's a new cycle. So moving on from there, the zodiac sign Pisces traditionally is connected to, okay, your sensitivity. I wanted to get that over, because if you're sensitive, why are you still doing the same thing? Don't tell me I cannot cuss today. Don't tell me about your empathy and your imagination when you still messing around with the same people, places, and things, or you act in the same way and it's not productive. However, it says the concept of Pisces energy being directly linked to disease and institutions is not a universally accepted belief. Because I want to add that in there within astrology. I'm talking about Hygeia. I may have put that I may have wrote that too close. But if I take you into a place and you begin to look at how sensitive you are, your experiences over the last year, how you felt in certain months, and you didn't pay attention to the fact that you needed rest, not that you should be lazy or procrastinating, but you needed rest because your body was actually exhausted. For example, then Pisces will create or can create disease, dis-ease. Dis-ease is not disease at first. Dis-ease means that I keep going through cycles and I'm stressed out and I got the same ish and I ain't changing it. Cycle. Imagine 58 years doing the same thing and I am unhappy. That is where Pisces could come in, your energy field is broke down, your immune system, and now it's no longer stress, but now it's disease. It was dis-ease connected to stress, and you can do all things through Christ. You do all things through Christ, but Christ ain't asked us to do all this stuff. It didn't even ask us to be a part of some of the things that we've taken on. That's why we're having to release in these moon cycles, or we're learning. The same reason why we're learning that we have a menstrual cycle and what it really does. That's it. Listen, every 30 to 31 days within that timing, 28 to 31 days, a woman has a cycle. That is Pisces. Because she releasing things, but is it enough just for her body to release if her mind is not doing it, or her heart? And even though a man doesn't have a visual cycle, he has the evidence of the moods. So, okay, let's move forward, Kim. Any questions before I go further?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So Pisces and sensitivity is often regarded as one of the most sensitive, compassionate signs. Who cares? After all I've been through, I'm gonna tell you that one. Being a rising sign, Pisces, it don't always profit. You got to have balance, and so you need Virgo coming over saying, "Guess what? Yeah, we don't care," and Pisces is saying we don't. Well, we care, but we're not feeling all of that. Okay, let's get a balance here, because Virgo is a earth sign. It will bring in it, the energy that you need to balance out the water. So Pisces is often regarded, okay, I read that their empathic nature allows them to connect deeply with others' emotions and experiences. This sensitivity may make Pisces individual more susceptible to the emotions and energies of those around them. Now, me, I get that. Like 2 days ago or yesterday, I was talking to my brother and I was like, wait a minute, my stomach wasn't hurting. And now I'm feeling like I'm going to have vomit. That's somebody else's energy. And it's very important to know, like Honora's son being Pisces, he will need a lot of time and quietness to himself. The things that he does creatively, it doesn't matter what anybody say. I'm telling him, I'm telling you, because without it, there will be no peace. It's the same for my grandson. So Pisces, that they need to be around a lot of people. Those are Pisces that are insecure and they need to be validated. And that's an area where they are called for evolution to change themselves because they don't. The Pisces are people that are in a mystical place. Now, everyone has it. So your energy will put you in that place, but I just explained, just because you feel and think doesn't mean, I mean, you can be acting out emotionally because you feel somebody else's energy, but it don't do you no good if you can't identify with it. You can be sick because of other people. You can be sick because of yourself and not wanting to change, but say you want to change. So Pisces, of course, is very confused until they begin to master this mind. They move back and forth. And so you say you're a mystic and you say that you're an empath. And oh, you said that you got energy and your Pisces is in what? You better find out what your my Pisces energy or my Neptune energy is in the 8th house. Deep. Saturn in Pisces, for me, my rising sign is in Pisces. Very, very not easy because empathic feeling and more, that's something that I've had. All right. So they're known for their vivid imagination and creative abilities. They are dreamers and can be in touch with the subconscious and spiritual realms. This imaginative trait can lead them to be more introspective and introspective. I wrote it twice. And introspective, I did, to be more introspective and introspective, sorry, and speaking and seeking meaning and understanding in the world around them. So Pisces and institutions. Some astrologers suggest that Pisces energy is associated with institutions such as hospitals, prisons. I found this. Religion is a institution, which is an institution. This connection is due to Pisces being the last sign of the zodiac, representing endings. So closure and disillusion. Institutions can symbolize places where boundaries are blurred and individuals may feel confined or trapped. So a lot of times, anybody want to add before I go on? Okay. So it's essential to remember that astrology is a belief system and not a science or scientific discipline. Yeah, I feel like it can be, depending on how you go into it. As such, interpretations and associations with zodiac signs can vary among astrologers and individuals. While astrology can offer insights into personality traits and potential tendencies, it's not a tool for diagnosing or predicting specific diseases or health conditions. I agree, but I do know that I studied with some people that, they use astrology looking at charts concerning medical conditions. I'm not as great with it, but I've been able to pinpoint things like I brought up Honora. The 6th house was a stressful time for her because, and it could have came back because Pluto went back there. Pluto being there brought in intense energy, and that's just how it is. The intense energy wasn't that we allow it to succumb us, but we allow ourselves to master it. And that's the bottom line. So the whole 2008 to now, the stress that some of us have been under, where it magnified different type of feelings with Pluto being in Capricorn. It wasn't that it was there to just destroy you, it was to destroy what's not productive for you, like worry and stress. For me, my whole personality changed. And I have changed. And so moving forward, when I say my personality, because it's been in my first house. So that's who I am. If I tried to hold on to who I was 3 years ago, man, I would be in bad shape. Where I was, what I thought, I would be probably in an institution, you see? And that means that you're trying to keep something that it don't work no more. You was only that person 3 to 5 years ago because you was learning how to become somebody else or the elevated part of you. So that's where Pluto is going to challenge you to change. It's not going to challenge you to stay the same and be afraid. That's for everyone there. So if someone's afraid of making money, then they were insecure about their abilities. Pluto in their second house. I hope that makes sense. Because it brings in a feeling of fear. But once you realize, gosh, that's what this has been, then you would be like, okay, well, we about to change that, because most people are afraid because they don't know what to do with fear. All right, so Poseidon, that's the Pisces energy. You know, the esteemed patron deity of water and navigation, Brother Zeus, leader of Olympus, born, or those born with February 19th to March March 20 are under his watchful care. As this period aligns with this Pisces sign, governed by the element of water, governed. So you see, they love water. In the ancient realm of Greece, held a position of reverence, particularly in coastal communities. As time passed, the Romans adopted his worship, referring him to Neptune. Ancient Poseidon is credited for constructing the first ship and imparting knowledge of sailing to humanity. So he has some things to do with the commerce of, you know, Greek. I feel like Hermes and the waters. So those three, when you look at the third houses, I put 3, 6, and 12. Third and 6 and 12. 3 is commerce, community. That's Hermes' house, education, short distance travel. But commerce was created through some of the Druids. Yeah. The commerce was created through the Druids, and they took it into the sailing where they could cross the seas to make money, which is how America and all of these other places got connected. So this is not like some people would take it as Greek mythology is like, they'll say it's a myth. Well, I feel like it's a reality because of what it's taught me and those energies, what they've taught me, because I didn't go to school for this. It's, it's in me. So consequently, Greek sailors frequently offered prayers to their patron and adored their vessels and his images. So when we see all of these underwater cartoons that the kids are watching and stuff, they are coming from those mythological readings, but they also connect with history and how man was able to connect borders and seas and all of that kind of stuff. So he was governed over the waters, which meant that he didn't touch the earth unless there was, if there's a temperament of energy going on, then the waters would become a tsunami, and So that's where you could go deeper if your mind would allow you to see where his area was the waters, and his areas was the waters. And if you look at yourself in the areas of water, and you have anything that is masked underneath, and you don't let it go, the cycles continue in your life, and you don't let them go, then what happens is that your emotions become like a tidal wave or a tsunami, and you keep spilling over on people because the waters are in you emotionally, and then we connect them with what it does on a natural level physically, and the waters um, can destroy land, but there's some type of intense anger or intensity that's going on underneath the sea. So it's all connected to how you look at yourself as well. And that's the reason why you're understanding the moon energy. Because some of this stuff hadn't been revealed, which is moon. It's not been revealed yet. Moon is always hiding something until someone comes with knowledge and they're able to reveal it. And it makes for a healthier individual and their families. So it says legends tell of the profound connection between Poseidon's emotions and the behaviors of the sea, you see. And so when the deity remained calm and balanced, the ocean would mirror his tranquility, and favorable winds would bless the sailor's journey. Conversely, when Poseidon air was aroused, storms would unfurl, imperilling ships and affecting those dwelling on the land. The power of capricious, nature, the power and capricious nature of the sea were a testament to the might and mercury temperament of the revered Poseidon. Now, when you look at the fact that Mercurial is brought into this conversation, you can see the connection. I already made it because Mercury is an inner balance energy for us, Gemini. But if we're off balance, emotions begin to flow, and then we will become more Piscean or moving in the Pisces energy. Why? Because we're imbalanced. Mercury is the third house, and it says to write, to journal. It says to get Polis and Cat, I think it's Castar, yeah, into order, because it's two people itself, saying get them in order so that the emotions will not overflow through you. You can say what you need to say and keep it moving. So that's where your healing is. And people are saying, because, we grew up in church, unfortunately, we were told to, just pray about it. Everything you can't pray about, because even when you deal with third house energy, it's a communication house. Of course, if it's someone that if you're talking to them and they can't hear you, you can't talk to them. That you got to let that go, because if you're trying to make things right, or someone is trying to make things right with you and they can't listen, there's a communication issue that they need to learn. You may not be able to teach them by talking to them. You might teach them by just being silent and moving on and not being a part of um, communicating with them, because there's no of communication that can be brought into the mix for you and that person, or even if it's at work. Mercury is about communication, communion. It's also a air sign that goes into the heavenlies. Any questions before I go on? No.
No
Okay.
question.
No, ma'am. Jazz? No. Okay. So the characteristics. I feel like everyone should know the characteristics of themselves and their children. You can look them up to find out. Good and bad is necessary, because if you don't know how to teach them about their character, they can't really grow. they'll have a harder time growing, and you will too, as you and I know, because we don't know what we're doing, what we're feeling. So Poseidon, individuals born under, but even to be influenced in this energy every 30 days, we're impacted. And it says characterized by their profound sensitivity and quick-tempered nature. So that's something you want to, hang your hat on. They can be quick-tempered. They possess an innate ability to perceive the emotions and whereabouts of others, often leading to excessive worry. They worry internally a lot. The kids probably some of them might cry a lot when they're younger, and then when they get older, it might become more of a silent cry. So something to watch, because it'll be different according to their charts. I know for myself. So criticism, disdain, ridicule can trigger intense reactions from them, ranging from annoyance to profound discouragement. They can be both type of people in this. It can happen to them, or it can be something that they inflict upon others, especially if they can make a group. But this is how it is. Like, we know some people that may have had major placements in Pisces, and they were just hell bent on everyone else was wrong, and that's a manipulative trait of Pisces. No, it's everybody else. It's a blame energy until it learns differently. And everyone has it, but I feel like because narcissistic traits are there, it can be harder. There's some signs that have more narcissistic traits than others. And I recognized it with my own self in my chart. I thought it was Capricorn, but then when I looked at Pisces, I was like, oh my, and I have Virgo descending, so hot mess. So despite this, those with Poseidon sign, they possess a remarkable capacity to understand and empathize with the suffering of others, offering solace and comfort during challenging times. They do. I feel like they have to learn and grow some of them into this. It's always in them, though. The martyr in their ability to ask, why did that happen to those people? Why? What kind of God is this? They say some deep stuff. But anyway, in a peaceful and amicable environment, Poseidon's people excel as diligent workers and make for captivating and cheerful companions to spend time with. However, if they encounter something they dislike, they swiftly transform into discontented and irritable individuals, becoming impervious to reasoning. And I can tell you, I'm a rising Pisces. That's me. There's time. It's a lot of time that I can give people, but after a while, it's like done. I have to have my peace. So even in this time, if you don't recognize that you need peace, but you're irritable, you want to make sure that once the moon comes back around, that you're looking at, why did I feel like that, and make those changes. A strong intuition acts as a saving grace for Poseidon wards, helping them navigate through various troubles. They have a tendency to live impulsively, guided by their desires and strict routines. Meticulous planning can lead them into a state of despondency. Sometimes you have to make them change up. I feel like it's certain ones that are some of them that they don't like to be in rules. So it depends on the placement. They don't like routine sometime either, but some of them do. The despondency is I feel like despondency can come on both ends for these people, but it's like a secret. So this is not something that's not is going to be outward. You'll have to really be able to see what's happening. Like I had a dream about a young lady last night that's a Pisces. And when she walked by me in the dream, she didn't ask for a pizza that was on the table, but the pizza was there for everyone. It was just that she came in and I saw her hand go into the pizza. It's an emphasis there. So, my mind was on that and what's coming up concerning her. She wants a piece of the pizza. Anyway, when I looked at her, she looked like a really old lady. Her age was showing. And so that's what I was thinking. I was like, gosh, she really looks old. And when she came back, she had made herself up. She looked like herself. So they change. They're also fake ass people. I just got to tell you. Now, I'm not talking about just her. They fake because they're avoiding and they are escaping from things. So you look at yourself and you say, at this time, all right, I just gave you a dream. So the dream for me is, it was just saying she wants a piece of the pie or the pizza. And I was watching her hand. The other thing is that she went by, she looked like an old lady, and she came back looking new. So it could be taken in different measures, but I feel like inside she looked like or feel like an old lady. But she keep making herself up because they're about avoidance and escapism. They don't want to accept stuff. And she drinks a lot. Not a problem, but I'm just saying escapism has to do with drinking. When you have to drink every day, that means that there's a problem. So Pisces have other problems too. They have sexual addictions. They can become addicted. Let's go there. So this energy that we're talking about is not just a mystic, because if someone is going to, let's talk about prophecy. If they're going to prophesy to me, I want to see the ethical practice of their life. That's right. Because they usually have this, Jupiterians have it, Leos have it, Geminis have it strong. The thing is that this one is a mystic house. So the people will dream, as this just said, and see. You all dream and see. I'm sure you've had dreams. Why am I not looking at the dream with her as much? Because I don't care. Close circle. I know what she is, but she is nothing that she can do to me. If she want a piece of that pizza, that means that it's other people she got to deal with. I see her old and her younger self. I see there needs to be a balance. And you need to look the same. You need to look the same every day. You should not allow yourself to feel so despondent that you look old today and then tomorrow you look young. That's just, an example of how to look at it, because this is not harping. Why you make the face?
Because that's me. That's my reality check right there. Like, Honora, you need to be consistent in putting your face on and and looking good, you know?
Let me see here. Ugh, God bless. Can you see if you can repeat that?
Yes, I was just saying that when you said, you need to be looking the same every day, like you don't need to be looking old one day and, another, you know what I mean? With what you just said. I was saying that's me. That's on me. Can y'all hear me, or is it
I hear you, Nora.
okay? Thank you. Miss Kim, are you okay?
Okay, Nora, I'm gonna ask you to repeat.
Recording in progress.
Got it. So when you were saying about putting your face on and not looking, you looking good one day and you looking old the next, and it's not consistent. I was just saying that that was a reality check for me because I tend to do that from time to time when I'm just not feeling it versus days where, I'll go several days without wearing makeup or really like putting myself together. And then I'll suddenly feel like doing my makeup and looking presentable. And I'll be looking in the mirror like, oh, there you are. Where were you the last few days? So that's just something, for me to make sure I'm staying consistent with.
So, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
So, in the realm of this energy, it's not that we focus per se on the Piscean, but what reveals itself in the Piscean moon is inconsistencies. The Pisces energy, it will make you inconsistent, not just you, everyone. Um, the inconsistencies show us where we can sharpen our tool and become stronger because in a moon energy class, or that it's going to be therapeutic to you, the therapy is going to be that tomorrow I get up and I make myself up no matter if I'm going somewhere or not. And if I could do, if I looked ugly for 15 to 20 days, then I need to at least look beautiful for 15 to 20 days, something like that. You're challenging yourself with this moon energy. Now, the other thing is that I think just write down the inconsistency, the word inconsistency. Maybe I'll come back to that, but I want to keep moving. So the strong intuition. So I want to look at the intuition because everyone thinks that it's great. So we talked about how you can absorb other people's energy, right? And that is not always great. Because like if you went around someone and they had been raped and they had never told anybody, you can feel it. When you get sensitive, and sometimes the energies are different where you might feel sexually impulsive from that energy of someone that's been raped. You know what I'm saying? You don't just feel that they've been raped. You feel the feelings because they thirst for more of it, even though they don't want to be raped. They like sexual activity, or they don't like sexual activity. And I'm just giving an example of what happens with Pisces in the intuition part. And in the intuition part, or with Pisces, or even Neptune's energy, you know, Neptune raped, they abducted. So that energy is in them, which needs to be changed it becomes deep. But when you have the knowledge that someone who's a Pisces, Pisces are very attractive. It's something about their aura, things attracted to them, good and bad. So when you have all of that, sex appeal comes with it, and then you have to learn how to uh, discipline yourself, which is a religious part of that house. Discipline is a part of discipleship in that 12th house. So one of the other things that they would be letting go of, or we would be letting go of, even in this moon waning, is perverseness and the imbalance of sexuality. Just to think about why we do things. So you see, if it says here they have a tendency to live impulsively, guided by their desires and strict routines. Well, just because they're got strict routines doesn't mean that dear you come home every day and we have to have sex at the same time. That kind of thing. That's an impulsive behavior. Um, Impulsive means that I'm having temper tantrums because I gotta have it my way. It's a strict routine. This is how I do it. This is how it works for me. It's just not about you. All right. So the success in their endeavors come when they genuinely adore their work. They have to know what their place is, and they have profound placements for work. Attempting to compel individuals of the sign to take on tasks is akin to trying to calm a turtle. You can't make them do things. They're usually artists in some way or another. They're going to have a lot of artistry, and water is it's a calming and soothing type of dynamic for them, as they will find innumerable reasons to evade responsibilities. My grandson was sitting on that glass table. He has no problem doing whatever he wants to do. He's not even two yet. And it's funny to me because they got something to deal with. For me, ain't no way he would be on no table. So when you tell him to get down, he cry. You know better anyway. That's why you're crying. You don't want to hear no. And these people don't want to hear nothing that they don't want to hear. I mean, I remember working with some people that had the placement. It wasn't a son. You ain't gonna never get it. So moving on, in relationships, pressuring their emotions or making demands proves futile as they are unlikely to yield to such approaches. Instead, fostering an understanding and supportive environment is key to a harmonious connection with them. It's not that you have to, how would you say, you don't have to kiss their behind, but you have to understand them and what makes them work with life. And that's the same as what's in you, because it's like, even if you feel bad today, you should have got up and took a bath. Okay, so here is Hygeia. So Hygeia is across from Pisces, the 12th house. So she's in the 6th house, or very known to be connected to Virgo's energy. You may not be able to read this, but y'all can go back and look it up. I brought it in because Tuesday I was going to work and her name came in very, apparent to me. And I knew who she was, but I had to start researching because whenever I hear any of these energies come to me, even if I know something about them, I go and educate myself more because Aries is in the North Node. And so maybe Hygeia has something to do with my North Node. And she might be navigating to help me to understand more further what my purpose is because I help people. And I say maybe in a context of I believe that that's what's happening, but also looking at her energy coming into me. I didn't channel her, but there's something in the energies that channeled with me, and I said, okay, let me look at this lady and get more information on her. And so here, she has the energy of Virgos. And also, when I started looking her up, her energy is very potent right now. It started from, I think, around the 23rd of July up until 6th. Her energy would be very potent. It's an asteroid. So it says in ancient Greek culture, Hygeia was venerated as a benevolent deity who offered um, protection against diseases and epidemics. So Hygeia and her energy being, like opposite to Pisces can be bringing in a healing at this time for people that have been going through suffering, depending on how they listen and sit with themselves and trust that they shouldn't be running all over doing everything. The other reason why I look at it that way is because Venus is retrograde. And with her being retrograde in Leo, it's the fifth house for some people, but it's the first house for some. However, it's going to bring some type of healing and some type of blessing for people that's been doing self development. And it goes back to 2015. Someone that was sick in 2015 up until now could get a healing, or they could have decided to that their healing was on the other side. They could get a healing financially. They could get a healing mentally and physically. They could get healings in their relationships. That's wherever her placement is for us. It does that, but right now she's going through the fifth house. So we look and say, well, what is she doing in the fifth house for someone that has a fifth house? For me, it's the eighth house. So what she's doing is shining a light on Scorpio energy and also making me research more because that's Scorpio energy, investigating environment, psychological, social, uh, and spiritual. So for me, I also believe that there could be healing in all those areas for me. Because when she came, I began to just sit with the energy and I looked up some of the prayers. I didn't put them here, but you guys can look them up yourself. Hygeia. Also, it talked about her being someone that this was the Roman and Greek part of her, but they also said that they found information on her that went back into the African descendancy. And so this was a Caucasian lady that was speaking of the feminine energy. And she was saying that she had found information that took this energy back to the African descendancy in the Egyptian time. And they connected her with Isis. They also called her Aphrodite Hygeia or Athena, I'm sorry, Hygeia. So there's a connection with Venus. I didn't put all of that in there, but it's in the recording. So let's see, her primary focus is on health and well-being. The concept of wellness to be understood as encompassing various aspects of life, including mental and physical health, um, which can indirectly impact a person's overall prosperity and quality of life. She rules over matters of clean living, of washing, eating well, looking after yourself, actually having a preventative attitude towards disease. So here you have Pisces, the house of dis-ease. So you're gonna be dis-ease with Pisces until you figure out what part is self-sabotaging you. But when you come over here and you're looking at Virgo, and her persona is very connected to Virgo, what happens is that she's teaching preventative towards disease and onset of illness rather than trying to cure, which is very indicative to the African history, because we had herbal compositions for healing. We didn't have pharmaceutical pills and stuff like that. So it's something she's bringing back. And, when I look at preventing disease, I look at this point, disease stops with me. It's not just that disease stops, but eighth house is everything that a generation needs for change, so it stops there. And there's a healing over the generations for some of us. And some people definitely would take it in, like I was prophesied so much too about my generations being healed, and I was like, yes. But I didn't know I was gonna have to pay a price for it. And that's the part that I think everyone fails to understand. So even when you come into a class like mine, you're learning about the price that you pay emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually. But you don't have to keep paying the price. You don't have to keep being like that. It's not normal to be a Pisces born in a stay in a mind of disease. You must grow to find yourself saying, there's no disease in me, which is where the shift comes in with Virgo's energy and this energy, right? So the at the end of the day, what we learn here is the ability to look at what I came in here as and what I can leave here as. I don't have to stay in the characteristics of a Capricorn's energy that is not so great. I can transform it. And I can go over to Cancer's house and become someone that actually nurtures people. Because Capricorn is a nature energy, though, it's got feminine characteristics, it's very manly. So the sixth house, I feel like you guys can read the rest of it. I think that that's enough. I broke down some information about what Pisces energy is, it does in the body. And in most cases, if you think that you have brain fog, you're not clear, it's because like Neptune is retrograde. So I'm about to order some Jingle Biloba. I took one today, and I had ordered some for my mother, because my mother has, I think she have Pisces and Leo or something like that. And so she has been having a hard time remembering, and my brother was crying about it. So I sent some Jingle Biloba to her. And also, I think I brought up lion's mane about 2 weeks ago, and I go back and I look at brain fog today, and lion's mane is good for brain fog. So I said, oh, okay, that's why I wasn't having it so much, because I was eating a lot of that mushroom. All right, any questions?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Got Pisces in your eighth house?
Let me go see what house mine is.
Yeah, Pisces rules my eighth house.
I would have to look at your chart. What planets is in the eighth house?
I don't have any planets in my eighth house.
You have that again?
So
You don't have any there.
I don't have any there.
Okay. So Pisces, the moon in Pisces means that you can have the issues of a Pisces and not know why you're having them. Pisces is in your eighth house. You have nothing in the eighth house, but Pisces rules it. What is it on your the cusp?
I don't have anything on the cusp, but I do have something on the cusp of Aquarius because I have a lot of placements in my sixth house, and Aquarius is in my seventh.
So how do you know Pisces is in your eighth house?
Because I was looking at my chart, and that's the Pisces is on the eighth house.
Oh, you said nothing was there.
Mm-hmm.
If nothing is there, how do you know Pisces is there?
Because when I'm looking at the wheel, it basically is showing me here. Let's see if I can screenshot it.
So as you're looking at it, you can take a shot and send it to me. But when the Pisces, when Pisces moved into the moon, it moved out of Aquarius, right? Or moon moved into Pisces. So if we look at the chart, what we will see is that the moon is moving through Pisces now, or the Pisces area of Aquarius. The moon has moved into Pisces, so it's in Pisces. So that means that for the next 2 days, you feel the energy of Pisces. Well, tomorrow is going to be moving. I'm gonna try and pull up a deacon chart for next. Oh, I'm gonna be out of town on next Thursday. So a deacon chart, so we can look at that and see how like the moon can be in Aquarius and Pisces, but not in Pisces. The moon can be in Cancer, in Leo. You see, so that can become an understanding too. Because for 30 days it stays in the same sign, and then it moves. So it's still in Aquarius, but it's moved into the Pisces area of Aquarius. Now, even as you go into the deacons, you find the eighth house and the fifth house, but it's still more to understand. And I think that the best thing is that you're understanding that, like Honor said, I'm inconsistent. And if you're inconsistent, then that means that you can chart where it's happening at. You can journal the habits that you have, and that's where the moon is going to help you to straighten it out. Okay, that's all I have. Oh, wait a minute. Let me see what Jazz said. Is this a transiting chart?
No, I don't think it is. No. No, it's not. It's just my birth. Whenever the moon is in Pisces, I get extra sleepy.
Okay, that's good to know. So, oh, see. Okay, so even though you don't have any planets there, you still feel the energy, like you said, you get sleepy. And that's like the melatonin. It talks about melatonin here. And a person that doesn't honor their need to sleep, right here, it's down here on the 7th page. It say melatonin is a hormone that helps regulate sleep and wakefulness. Its secretion is influenced by the amount of light exposure a person receives. So that means you might need more light at some place or some point. In the absence of light, such as during the night, the pineal gland produces more melatonin. That means that people have to sleep, which makes us feel drowsy. It helps prepare the body for sleep. In the presence of light, the gland produces more melatonin, which makes us feel drowsy. It helps prepare the body for sleep. In the presence of light, such as during the day, melatonin production decreases, promoting wakefulness. So this is a place where I did add more information. It helps how to look at the parts of our body that's affected during the Pisces moon, and that's feet. So, some people, their feet will start bothering them. Um, I know some people that are Aquarius, their feet and their Achilles heel will bother them. People that are Aquarius, I know, have been injured with Achilles heel tendons and that kind of stuff. But this tells you like the pituitary gland, how to make it work better or help it to flow. The pineal gland, why? Because this is a part of what is affected during the Pisces moon and its energy. So here, the pineal gland plays a crucial role in the regulation of various physiological processes, including the sleep wake cycle, circadian rhythm, and the production of certain hormones. Now, I know people that have been in the military that have problems with circadian rhythm. They don't sleep, which means that their pineal gland is not functioning properly. And if the pineal gland is not functioning properly, that means that the hormone system, as it says here, the brain, um, all of that in this hemisphere is off. So you can read more and, make sure that you have enough sleep. And this might be a time for you to sleep more because it's fourth house for you. The Pisces house is a fourth house energy for you, even though you have on your birth chart it as a eighth house. The transit, it will show up that you need more sleep during when it's going through home season, when Saturn is turning back. Saturn could be affecting it, the desire to sleep more too, because of the retrograde in that house where Neptune's house is. So, okay. God bless y'all. Going back to sleep. I'm trying to get me some popsicles. God bless. Good night.
That makes sense. Good night, you guys.
Good night. Thank you.